Big up everybody tuned in, people deluded and all of that. People, smash the like button. I hope you're all well and safe. I hope you're still riding the high of Arsenal defeating Bournemouth 3-0. I know Manchester City beat Wolves and it goes rumbling on, people, where this title race is concerned. And with 2 games left, there are no margins for error. Personally, I don't think Manchester City are dropping points, but we live in hope. Away from that, though, we might as well go over the latest talking points, tabloids, and all of those kind of things concerning our football club. As you can see on screen, we've been linked with Sesko quite a lot, and also Alexander Isak, who keeps scoring for Newcastle, as well as both of them obviously being at 2 different stages in their careers, both quality players, and both share one thing in common in that they're both strikers. As you know, that's an area that Arsenal are speculated as to wanting to sign a new player in. Arsenal are very unlikely to sign Alexander Isak in the summer, but the club's interest in RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko has intensified recently, football transfers can reveal. The club have been reconsidering their pursuit of a high-profile goal scorer due to the impressive form of Kai Havertz, and don't wish to get into a bidding war for the Magpies hitman, despite recent reports to the contrary. Now, 1 minute is Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal, next is Isak, then there's an admiration in both. Both of them are linked with not just Arsenal, but a bunch of other clubs and also a lot of other Newcastle players, because they probably need to sell in the summer to comply with the PSR and the FFP kind of rules and whatnot. This article went on to say, we are told Havertz's success in fitting into Arsenal's style of play has prompted Mikel Arteta to rethink his plans to sign a 20-goal-a-season striker, especially one that could cost a significant amount. Since the calendar year, the German has fitted recently perfectly into Arsenal's playing style by scoring 15 goals while poised as a number 9. Now, let me know your thoughts, because I want the best of both worlds. I want Kai Havertz to definitely keep playing like this, because this has probably been, I've said this a few times, but his best week in an Arsenal perspective. You know, against Chelsea, superb. Spurs, superb. Bournemouth, respectfully to Bournemouth. I'm shameless. I'm going to say you're a bigger club than Spurs, but the game states are very different, people. But Kai Havertz continued his goal scoring form. I am wary, though, because, you know, when we signed Kai Havertz, one thing I said I'll give him grace is, I know there was a running joke about him missing, you know, tap-ins and him not really being clinical, which we've seen at Arsenal. All the other facets of what Mikel Arteta demands of you and just how he plays the game, you know, in terms of his general play, there was something there. But specifically to his goal scoring, and at 24 years of age, I guess this could be a new beginning for him. But at this moment in his career, German international, current Arsenal player, former Chelsea Champions League winner, he did score in that final, in the Champions League final. He's never been a bagsman. So, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. If Kai Havertz is going to keep doing what he's doing and taking it to better levels, then I do think the profile of striker probably needs to shift, probably need a more rotation option. But I'd be wary of letting him specifically on the goal scoring front change our thinking, because it's a bit crazy. We've got 80 odd in the Prem, 100 odd goals, and we're still talking about a striker. And when you look through our team, we share the goals around, especially adding set pieces. But who really has that proven stamp of, for a couple of years, being a goal scorer? It's Bukayo Saka, who's doing quite well and breaking statistics every year he plays for us. You know, Odegaard's got a decent amount of goals, but it's not the 15 he got last year. Martinelli nowhere near what it was last year. Gabriel Jesus struggling to score goals. Kai Havertz in a great patch of form. Declan Rice has even added a couple. Trossard's good for a few. So a lot of them bring goals, but who would you say in August you'd bet your hat on and say you're going to get double figures? Let's just use broad terms in double figures. If you're Mikel Arteta sitting there in August or July or June or in the months to the season, it's probably Saka. You believe you can create goals, and obviously these players, I said, could score, but who's got that proven record? And there has been occasions where, as much as the goals have been shared, players have done well. We've needed that guy who can just put the ball in the back of the net. So I do think it should change a bit of our thinking, but you get the point. We have been linked with Gyökeres, people from Sporting Lisbon, as well as Isak and now Sesko. Apparently, the Slovenian international has a release clause of 50 million euros, which when you look at Gyökeres is a 100 million euro release clause. You can see which one's cheaper. I would love Benjamin Sesko at the club. Newcastle and Chelsea have been linked with him. Reece Nelson's been linked with a move to Crystal Palace. Now, if we can do something where Gurhi's concerned, Elise is concerned, Eze is concerned, I'm sure everybody wants to go for that, people. Shout out to Mikel Arteta for getting 3 points yesterday, completely off topic. Declan Rice continues his goal scoring form, and Trossard has been one of the best January signings the club have ever signed. signed. But Reece Nelson, who can't get in the squad, even though he's been historically on the bench, apparently Crystal Palace are proactively prepared for the potential exit of Eze and Elise, and they are exploring the conditions around signing Reece Nelson. Brighton have been linked with Reece Nelson for a fee of around 30 million, respectfully, and I know we need to keep a couple of these English players, but if you could get 25, 30 for Nketiah, but don't know how, but if you can get 30 million for Reece Nelson, if you can get a decent fee for Ramsdale, I hate to say it, but maybe Smith Rowe, obviously this offsets a bit of the spending you'd imagine Arsenal are going to do, which I don't know who we're going to sign, where we're going to sign, what we're going to sign, but you'd imagine what the last 2 summers, it's been around the 200 million mark. And I think that would be the case with Arsenal as well, because if I had it in my way, we'd sign a striker, we'd get another wide man addition to compete with the Trossards, the Martinellis, the Sakas, etc. So that's a winger and a striker. I'm greedy. I would like 2 central midfielders, but I think 1 as a minimum. I think we could do with a versatile defender. Who that is, where we find that, if we're able to do that's another thing. But there has been times where you would have loved Saliba, Gabriel, and potentially Benjamin White. In fact, 100% Benjamin White to be able to be rotated out of the squad. Now, we know Timber's injury threw a spanner in the works with that. Kyrill's been on the bench, but he's done well in that regard. Let me know your thoughts on Zinchenko, because I'm sure a lot of you lot have a lot to say with that. So, yeah, man, for Reece Nelson, obviously, Arsenal are competing again. You're a Haylender. Obviously, the manager has some element of trust for you. I don't think anyone can be happy with not playing football, but he has a relative comfortable role. But you do feel, for me anyways, with Reece Nelson, with Eddie Nketiah, a bit different, but it's getting there with Smith Rowe, to really advance your careers. Do you have to go somewhere where you're going to play on a regular basis and start? Because Smith Rowe's been fit. And I'm not saying he should be in the team, because, again, we're challenging for league titles. The team that's gone out there has been the one doing it. Can't get near the starting 11. Nketiah can't get significant minutes. Nelson, I forgot a man when the squad, there's a lot of people that are fit. And if you're Reece Nelson and you're training as well as you can, the manager's rating it. But obviously, unfortunately, in life, if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. There's just other options and better options. And, not even just that, because Arteta might want more defenders on the bench. So that means there's less spaces for attackers. So there's a lot to unpack. Let me know your thoughts. We've gone over Reece Nelson, people. And you'd imagine Nelson, Smith Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Ramsdale, Tierney, Tavares, Lokonga, even Partey and Jorginho, speculation will persist about their futures and all through the summer. Again, there's been some rumors with Mikel Arteta's press conference that David Raya's deal might not necessarily be made permanent. We know it all will be, people. We owe them 27 million. Nonetheless, Romano has said Arsenal's plan remains clear since last summer. David Raya will become an Arsenal player on a permanent deal from Brentford for 27 million. It's all verbally agreed between the parties, people. So something we already knew, but it's there nonetheless. And big up David Raya, because he's won the Golden Glove in the Premier League. In your debut season, to be part of a title race, the Champions League ended poorly for us, but you was a cup hero against Porto, penalty hero. You've got, 14, 15 goal clean sheet. You're laughing. Many people will sit there and say, oh, well, it's because he's got a better defense. Of 100%. Like, you want your goalie not to have a better defense? And you could argue, last year we more or less had a similar defense. We didn't win the Golden Boot with Golden Glove with Ramsdale. And I'm not saying, because it goes deeper than just the goalie, really. I don't want to praise Spurs, but that Vicario keeper has question marks, but he's a good goalie. It's be like blaming all of the goals they've conceded on him. So big up Raya, man. I do think there's healthy question marks with Raya, but it is what it is. In relation to other news, Romano has said Arsenal want to bring in a striker during the summer transfer window. Arsenal are looking for a striker. They like Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko, and Isak. The names kind of fluctuate, people. So we'll have to see in that regards. Again, it's been described as unlikely that will sign Isak. Apparently, Mikel Arteta has a preference. And again, for Sesko, with his release clause of 43 million, that could give you money to maneuver in other areas. Maybe sign a different sort of profile with a winger. Maybe Arteta could address 2 positions he probably thought wasn't possible. Because when you look at our team, beyond the obvious, and what Arteta needs to do, I think if you get another striker, another wide man, a long-term central midfield partner for Declan Rice, another defensive reinforcement to be used in the ranks. Obviously, we need to look up a backup goalie because Ramsdale's leaving. And I haven't got anything here, but there's been rumours that we're actually trying to bring Szczesny back to the club as our number 2. That would all, in my opinion, all of those signings would go a long way in helping our football club. Again, realistically, can anyone catch City? Manchester City about to do a 4P. The last 2 years, City are a thing, so I can't say this, but in the last 2 years, if Manchester City didn't exist, bro, we've won 2 Premier League titles during the Emirates era. When you look at it, yes, we could have got more points, but from a possible 48, we've got 43. from the 16 games we've played this year. And with 2 games left, nobody imagined 2024 would be like this for us, especially off the back of last year. 16 games, 14 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. And I guess that tells the tale. That's the draw and the loss is where the issues have come from, people, in that regard. Again, we've seen during the week, people, that Arsenal allegedly will consider selling Gabriel Jesus and Thomas Partey. I would love to keep them, but I understand if they need to move on. And if we don't miss them and we sign suitable replacements, I don't really care, people. So, let me know your thoughts on Sesko, Gyökeres, Alexander Isak. Do you think any of them are the best targets for us? Let me know your thoughts on the Arsenal versus Bournemouth game. Let me know your thoughts on Declan Rice in this new look midfield and any other talking point we've gone over. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, subscribe. Peace.